has it that Kirk Frost and Mendeecees Harris, two of the most talked-about celebrities in love and hip-hop, have been permanently barred from all of the game's major reality TV shows. Insiders are disclosing details that might put an end to entire franchises, including violent altercations that never should have happened and far more severe claims that are circulating. This is not just a squabble or backstage drama either. The fans weren't expecting it. It all started with murmurs in the network office corridors and silent nods during production meetings. At first, no one paid any attention. Kirk Frost and Harris of Mendeecees had always been polarizing figures in the love and drama series. Fans are in shock, cast members are now divided, and the industry is frantically trying to manage the fallout. How did the situation spiral out of control? Why are well-known celebs like Kirk and Mendeecees vanishing from television? Is this the end of their careers or the beginning of a bigger dispute? You won't believe what's going to happen, so stay focused. When Kirk was supposed to record a family segment with Rashida, he did not show up. Producers claimed that Kirk pulled out at the last minute due to mental stress, but insiders thought it was something more serious just days before Kirk and Mindy were allegedly seen fighting at a secret cast party. They thrived on chaos and drama and were skilled at keeping the cameras rolling. But it soon became impossible to ignore the reports that something worse was seething behind the scenes. But something felt different this time. Instead of working with producers, Kirk and MVCs started making bold demands. Kirk insisted on his tail. Therefore, he wouldn't film scenes that depicted him adversely. Some say fists were thrown, while others maintain they were when Mendeecees allegedly told one of the showrunners, "You don't get to tell my story unless I approve every word." Security had to keep them apart. Love, the network made an effort to conceal it to prevent another major scandal. Tensions quickly escalated, other cast members lost patience, storylines were cut short, and production schedules were thrown into chaos. Dandy Smith, who had always publicly backed Mendeecees, started to retreat behind closed doors after growing weary of Kirk's non-compliance. According to a blog post by an unknown producer, "They've always been difficult, but now it's like they want to run the whole show." Episodes that had previously been filled with Kirk and Mendeecees' antics now had new plots, and strange moments with them started to fade. Fans began to ask, "Where's Kirk? What happened to Mendeecees?" After realizing that, I can't keep covering for him. If he wants to destroy his image, that's on him. On social media, there were many theories. Some people thought the program was already on silent suspension, while others thought they were leaving on their own. However, none anticipated what happened during when Kirk Min and two executive producers arrived at the network headquarters for a secret meeting. A heated argument broke out. Kirk was already furious and accused the network of influencing his opinion, according to an unidentified insider who saw the exchange. When he threatened to reveal unedited footage, DCs supported him because he was tired of being the bad guy. When one producer attempted to diffuse the tension, Kirk allegedly slammed his fist on the table and said, "This show made me the bad guy, and now you want to erase me?" Kirk and Mendeecees hurried out of the building as soon as security was called. Later that day, the entire organization received an email informing them that both men were placed on an indefinite production halt without providing any other details. However, it didn't stop there. The first altercation between Kirk and Mindy at the cast party was captured on camera and posted online. Even though it was hazy and obviously captured on a phone, you could see everything. The pushing, the yelling, Kirk's attempt to move forward before being restrained. Some fans began to support Kirk after the video's unexpected viral success, and within hours, hashtags like Chattern Kirksman and Talks Meltdowns were trending on Twitter. Everyone watched as the network went into full damage control and the chaos spilled into the real world. Then, in the most shocking turn of events, 2 weeks after the leaked movie surfaced, a subtle court filing revealed that the network was terminating all current and future contracts with Kirk and Mendeecees because he had been pushed too far. Others accused Mendeecees of being controlling and venomous. Immediately following the commotion, advertisers started to retreat. All future deals with the squad were reportedly placed on hold by one major sponsor. When the admirers learned the news, they were taken aback. Two of the most well-known reality TV celebrities, Kirk and Mendeecees, were banned from all associated reality TV shows due to several conduct violations, threats against staff, and acts that damaged the network's reputation. Rumors circulated that it was long overdue, that it was a setup, and even that former cast members were offering their opinions. Carly Red remarked in a mysterious Instagram story, "Karma always comes around." Kirk and Mendeecees remained silent and made no public remarks, despite reports from those close to them that they were both feeling deceived and outraged. Behind the scenes, the situation was considerably more serious. Lil Scrappy tweeted, "Some folks forget cameras aren't the only thing recording." According to reports, Kirk was thinking of filing a lawsuit because he felt the network had exploited him for ratings and then disregarded him as soon as he started to cause problems. Rashida reportedly became stuck in the center, be devastated by Kirk's failure in his career and how it was destroying their family. Yandy was enjoying himself too, having spent years encouraging Mendeecees, believing in his development, and supporting him through his struggles as a dad in prison and the press. She felt the weight of his death now that the company was abandoning him, and one acquaintance noted, "He's angry all the time and it's like he's shutting everyone out." Sources claim that she sobbed in a private conversation with her manager, adding, "I don't know how to fix this." According to a person familiar with the matter, Kirk and Mendeecees are preparing a major event and wanted to make public what actually occurs behind the scenes. Just when everyone believed the drama had reached its peak, a new layer of secrets, including private direct messages, whisper conversations, and even a deleted message, came to light. That's when the storm truly started to build. Despite the emotional fallout, Kirk and Men weren't ready to walk away quietly, so they started reaching out to independent producers, podcast hosts, and even competitor reality TV shows to obtain their honest and unfiltered perspective of what happened. As the drama developed, new, darker disclosures started to circulate the industry, suggesting that Kirk and Mindy were fighting not only for their employment, but also to expose a system that had mistreated and ultimately abandoned them. Although they weren't the first reality TV stars to be subjected to this kind of torture, they were determined to be the last. Hinted at something much more important than a fight at a party or a contract being canceled. It could potentially upend reality, television as we know it. The recording shocked the industry by confirming what many had already guessed. Kirk and Mendy never had total control over their stories. The producers had used their rivalries, loves, and personal issues to increase viewing, and their rise and fall had been carefully planned. When the drama became unprofitable, they lost their jobs. A producer revealed to a few trustworthy sources how Kirk and Mendeecees were handled during the latter months of their tenure on the show. With an air of disdain in their voice, the producer said, "They're just pawns." The network protested the legitimacy of the leaf recording and asserted that the voices had been edited in a hurried attempt to minimize the damage, but it was too late. Were discarded when the voice message gained popularity. Fans started to show more support for Kirk and Mendeecees. Even though some viewers had long recognized the manipulation of the reality TV industry, the unvarnished truth made it evident that this is more important than Kirk and Mendeecees. A fan remarked, "This is about all the people who get exploited for the sake of entertainment. We need to know what really goes on behind the scenes." Recently, the damage had already been done. Viewers started to doubt what they had been seeing for years as the public's perception of reality TV changed overnight. However, Kirk and Mendeecees had no plans to give up. In fact, the finding of the voice note only made them more determined. Contacts started coming in from journalists, podcast hosts, and even former cast members who had strained ties with the network. They were resolved to expose reality TV and overthrow the system that had taken advantage of them, and they weren't going to let their careers be ruined without a fight. People close to Mendeecees claim that he has been speaking with several well-known attorneys in preparation for a legal battle that will upend the basis of allegedly getting ready to sue the network for emotional distress, unjust termination, and defamation against the pillars of the industry. Rumor had it, though, that Kirk was getting ready for an open interview in which he would discuss every problem that had come up while he was on the show. In the midst of this chaos, Kirk and Mendeecees' personal lives started to fall apart even more. Friends said that Kirk, who had always been the more level-headed of the two, would spend lengthy evenings pacing his home in obvious distress. A close friend claims that the entire incident haunts him. Rashida, meanwhile, was caught up in a whirlpool of feelings. She had always been Kirk's strongest supporter, But now she found herself torn between her husband's loyalty and the reality of their situation. She couldn't ignore the truth that was beginning to take shape, even if she wanted to be there for Kirk and help him through the chaos. Rashida could no longer pretend that everything was okay after it was revealed that Kirk had been tricked by the same people who had formerly praised him for his grand schemes. Rashida even thought about leaving love and hip-hop herself due to the stress of the situation. The relationship between Mendeecees and Yandi had always been tumultuous, but now that their futures were in jeopardy and the media was concentrating on them, the tension between them was clear. Insiders claim that Rashida was considering changing occupations and entering the music industry or starting her own business. It's not just about the show anymore. It's about the family, the kids, their future, and she's stuck in the middle, and it's tearing her apart, according to a source. In the words of one acquaintance, this is his chance to take down the entire system. He's not going to back down. Now. While Mendeecees was planning his next move, Kirk was quietly re-establishing his network of allies. Mendeecees, however, seemed unconcerned with the strain in his personal life. Sources claimed that he was more focused than ever on his legal battle and his plans to expose the reality tape machine. He's on a mission. An anonymous former cast member told a well-known blog, Kirk and Mendy were the first to really fight back. They're doing what a lot of us wanted to do, but we were too scared. The network doesn't just control your story, they control your career. Some even implied that other people had been tricked in addition to Kirk and Mendeecees, after former cast members who had fallen out with the show reached out to offer their support and share their stories of exploitation and mistreatment. Once you say something, you're done. The public didn't buy it, though, and the more the network attacked, the more people joined Kirk and Mendeecees' hashtag, try and reveal aerial reality, to show their support. Public relations teams spread counter-narratives that claimed Kirk and Mendeecees were simply trying to capitalize on their controversies to stay relevant. According to their portrayal, they were bitter, disgruntled former stars who couldn't accept that their time was over. As fans began to call for accountability and transparency, social media influencers joined the discussion and encouraged people to speak out against the exploitation of reality TV stars. The future of love, hip-hop, and reality TV in general were all on the line as Kirk and Mendeecees' feud went on. One well-known influencer said, "These shows make millions off our pain, and we've had enough." Would they be able to defeat the titans of the industry, or was this the start of a bigger battle? As Kirk and Mendeecees' argument heated up, the uproar around their blacklisting intensified. The focus had shifted from their jobs to uncovering the dark realities of the entire reality TV industry. Both celebrities had become symbols of resistance by fighting against the system that had profited from their misery for years, but the stakes were rising, and every move they made seemed to attract more attention from both their supporters and their critics. Behind the scenes, the network was growing desperate as they realized that if Kirk and Mendeecees were successful in exposing the truth, their entire empire might be destroyed. Negative information was leaked by the network to the media, and gossip. Websites were overrun with claims that Kirk and Mendeecees were toxic behind the scenes, difficult to work with, and only out to maintain their fame by stirring up trouble. Kirk and Mendy weren't, if anything, giving up, despite the network's obvious fierce battle to maintain control of the reality tape recorder and protect their brand. The breakdown of the constructed world of written drama, exaggerated characters, and staged conflict might have a significant negative impact on the network and the entire reality TV genre. By posting his version of events, behind-the-scenes recordings from his time on Love and Hip Hop, and never-before-seen texts between him and the producers, Kirk in particular became a powerful voice for the truth on social media. The uncensored, uncut footage gave fans a glimpse inside the emotional toll, contrived drama, and manipulation that reality TV stars faced, something they had never seen before. Their perseverance in the face of the network's fear merely confirmed that they were on the right track. We weren't just playing characters, we were being controlled. They told us what to say, who to fight with, who to love, and who to hate. They wanted drama, and we gave it to them. But when the camera stopped rolling, they stopped caring about us, and now they're trying to erase us. Kirk posted a stirring video message on social media, and supporters flooded the comments section with encouraging remarks. "I always felt that something was wrong with reality TV," and one admirer replied, "Thank you for speaking out. We deserve to know the truth." They launched a barrage of counterattacks in response, claiming that Kirk's disclosures were only a last-ditch effort to remain relevant following the cancellation of his show. Mendeecees, meanwhile, was adopting a different strategy. Millions of people shared Kirk's message, and the hashtag #OurFrotherKings became viral. It was evident that viewers who had long been skeptical of the network's fabricated reality TV but were still clinging to their story were responding favorably to Kirk's message. Kirk was concentrating on leveraging social media to reveal the corruption within the network, while Mendeecees was adopting a more measured strategy to find additional incriminating information that would compel the network to come clean and demonstrate that reality TV was about more than simply drama. It was also about profit manipulation and exploitation. He had covertly started collaborating with a group of investigative journalists. According to people close to Mendeecees, he was especially interested in the financial aspect of things, showing how the network makes money off of the suffering and agony of its stars. According to one insider, he wants to reveal the business behind the scenes that he believes in, not just tell his story. A former producer who had worked with Kirk and Mendeecees on Love and Hip Hop turned out to be an unexpected ally in the midst of their conflict, saying, "I've seen it all," in a special interview. The producer had recently left the show and reached out to both stars, offering to provide insider information that could help them in their battle. "I was there when the show started, and I watched as it changed from something real into something fake. Everything you've seen on that show was written, as far as I can tell." The producer's interview was a game changer, giving Kirk and Mendeecees even more ammunition to continue their fight. Fans had been questioning whether reality TV was real for years, but it was the first time someone with insider knowledge had confirmed their suspicions. The producer explained how the network created drama by manipulating the relationships between cast members, fabricating storylines, and even staging fights. They knew what worked, so they gave it to the viewers, but the cast members were left to pick up the pieces, and we were all just pawns in a game. The network tried to contain the damage by threatening legal action, but it was too late. Kirk and Mindy continued to move forward, but they found themselves growing more and more isolated from their former peers. Many of their old industry friends, who had once been eager to ride the wave of reality TV fame, started to distance themselves from the two. Some were afraid of being implicated in the scandal, while others simply didn't want to risk their careers by speaking out. As Kirk was putting the final touches on his legal case in hopes of finally getting the justice he felt he deserved, the stakes were higher than ever as he prepared for a high-profile interview with a major news outlet in which he planned to reveal even more explosive details about his time on Love and Hip Hop NVCs. The network was in full damage control mode, trying to keep the narrative under control and stop any more leaks from happening, but it seemed they were losing ground. They had the truth on their side and were determined to make sure it was revealed with their next move. We were at the center of it all as Kirk and Mendeecees continued to fight the reality TIG empire, the conflict between Kirk Mendeecees and the FI. Network reached a boiling point when the two stars were called to appear before a private panel of industry executives. The network, now desperate to protect its brand, was doing everything in its power to try to bury the scandal, but the two remained steadfast in their determination to expose the truth about the exploitation of reality TV stars. At the head of the table was a familiar face, the showrunner of Love and Hip Hop, who had played a major role in their rise to fame and now played a major role in their fall. The panel, which included high-ranking members of the network, had one goal: to convince Kirk and Mendeecees to back down and end their crusade. Both men dreaded the meeting, but knew they had to go because the stakes were higher than ever. An executive sat behind a long, polished table, their face stoic and unreadable. "We understand your frustrations, and we're not going to back down," he said in a firm, loud voice. "But what you're doing isn't right. You're not just manipulating the audience, you're manipulating us, and you're making money off our pain," he added, his face hardening and his arms crossed. "We've been following your statements closely." The men who had been quieter during the heated discussion finally spoke up. "We know that reality TV might be difficult, but we must keep in mind that it is a business. You took advantage of us, you built us up, then you destroyed us, and now you want to erase us," Kirk replied. "You both have been a part of something much bigger than yourselves. You owe your careers to this show, and now you want to throw it all away." "We don't owe you anything," the showrunner said, his expression unwavering but obviously frustrated. "Well, we're not going away quietly. We're telling the truth. If you think you can change the way reality still works, you're delusional because you're just too blind to see it." The network had clarified that they were willing to do whatever it took to protect their brand, but Kirk and Mindy were equally determined to expose the truth at any cost. The meeting ended without a resolution, and Kirk and Mendeecees left the room knowing that the battle was far from over. The fallout from their revelations was spreading like wildfire, with fans and industry insiders weighing in on the scandal. But the network wasn't idle either. They started a media campaign accusing Kirk and Mendeecees of being ungrateful and jealous of their success, and for a while it seemed to be working, as some fans started to turn against them, saying that they were trying to destroy the reality TV industry because they wouldn't exist without the show. One comment said, "Now they're just bitter." Kirk and Mendeecees, on the other hand, weren't letting the criticism get to them. The stakes were extremely high. If he could expose the truth, it would change the game, not just for him and Mendeecees, but for the entire industry. Instead, they increased their efforts to expose the truth, and BC's calm approach began releasing more evidence, such as emails, text messages, and behind-the-scenes footage that demonstrated the extent to which the network had manipulated their storylines and exploited their personal lives for profit. Kirk was getting ready for a high-profile live interview in which he would directly challenge the network's executives. The entire reality TV industry was in a tense state as the interview day drew near, and the network was desperately trying to figure out how to stop the interview. They even offered Kirk a sizable sum of money in exchange for his silence, but Kirk refused to back down, saying in a statement that, "I'm not doing it for the money," and that he was doing this for the truth. Millions of viewers tuned in on the day of the interview, eager to hear what Kirk would say. The network held its breath as Kirk took his seat on stage, and the air was heavy with anticipation. Kirk has been vocal about the exploitation of reality TV stars. "Please tell us more about what's been going on behind the scenes." Kirk's response was powerful as he began to recount the events that led to his decision to speak out. He talked about the network's manipulation, emotional toll, and control over his life. His words were unfiltered and raw, and the audience listened intently, hanging on every word. "It's not just about the drama, it's about how they used us to make money. They didn't care about our well-being, they only cared about their well-being." Kirk's interview became a turning point in Kirk and Mendeecees' fight for the truth. The network was rocked by the revelations and now faced an uncertain future. Would they be able to regain control of the narrative, or had Kirk and Mendeecees changed the game forever? The host thanked Kirk for his courage as the interview came to an end, but the battle was far from over. Kirk and Mendeecees had become symbols of resistance in an industry based on exploitation. Their fight was not only for their redemption, but also for the truth to be heard and for future generations of reality stars to know they wouldn't be silenced. As the drama develops, it's unclear whether Kirk and Mendeecees will be able to regain their careers and expose the truth, or if the network will be able to silence them forever. We want to hear your thoughts on the shocking events that have occurred. Do you think they're doing the right thing by speaking out, or do you think they're just causing chaos for their gain? Please remember to subscribe to our channel and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this dramatic turn in reality TV. To ensure you don't miss any updates, click the bell icon on the channel, view the video, and check back frequently for the most recent information about Kirk Mendeecees and all the behind-the-scenes turmoil on reality TV. We appreciate your support and will continue to provide you with the stories you've been craving. Remember to show your friends this video, and let's talk. See you later. Duration.